In this video, I want to show you how to add bone broth to your food diary in Cronometer. So you're going to go to the red apple or the plus sign if you're on your phone, and you're just going to type in bone broth and pure bone broth beef. There's a lot of different bone broths that you're going to see. I just choose that one because it's the top of the list and it's the closest thing to what I would consider homemade broth. These are all branded broths that you can buy at the store. So the problem with broth that you buy at the store is it has no fat in it. And as you know, the fat is the medicine of the broth. That's the most healing part of the broth for your gut. So to buy a bone broth off the shelf at a store, you're missing out on the benefits of the broth. Certainly, the very best thing to do is to make your own homemade bone broth. So we're going to spend a lot of time in this module working with bone broth as a healing medicine for the digestive tract. I'm going to go ahead and just pick pure bone broth beef here. I'm going to add it to the Cronometer. But I want you to notice that down here, there's virtually zero fat in the broth. What you'll have to do is not only add your broth, but then you're going to have to add fat. So we'll just say beef fat here. And this beef fat is going to come from the top of your broth. When you chill your broth in the refrigerator, you'll see a thick layer of fat on the top of your broth. This is what you're going to be adding to every cup of broth that you drink. Okay? So just for fun, let's see what happens with these macronutrients now that I have 1 cup of broth and 1 tablespoon of beef fat. You can see that I'm only at 7% of the needed fat for the day. No carbs have been consumed with that, and 20% of the protein that I need for the day in that 1 cup of broth. So let's shift these numbers around, play with them, and see what happens. You don't necessarily have to meet all of your macros. You're only going to be doing that broth fasting for 1 to 3 days. Some people may choose to do it longer. It's up to you. You don't need to meet all of your macros during that first phase of the gut healing protocol. And let's see what happens when we just change this number. So we can go right up here like that. And let's change this to 3 cups of broth and just see what happens. So that increases the protein significantly. I'm at 53% now of the protein total protein for the day. And let's see what happens if I just play with this number a little bit. I'm going to say 6 tablespoons of beef fat. So let's go and just play with this a little bit more. I want to see how much it would take if I wanted to meet all of my macros just with broth. Okay, so with 6 cups of broth, that's a little over. So I'm going to back it down to 5. Okay, 100%. See that right there, 100%. Okay, so if I have 5 cups of broth, which isn't really that much in a day, if I'm broth fasting, that is pretty easy to do, and I'll feel very satisfied. So for the first few days, we are significantly reducing carbohydrates when we begin the gut healing protocol. But if we had carbs, this red line would be filling in with color. So I'm going to delete that and just watch that red line. Okay, so it goes away because we're not actually having any carbs during the first step of the gut healing protocol. We will soon start building a soup from the base of our broth that we're going to be starting out with in step 1. We will be adding vegetables to our broth, well-cooked vegetables throughout this process because they're much easier to digest. So as you start adding vegetables, you're going to see your net carbs start to increase. Along with your broth and your beef fat, you're going to get all of your macros every day just from your soup. You're going to get everything you need. Okay, but you don't have to worry about meeting your net carbs every day in the first few steps, okay? Again, carbohydrates are not an essential nutrient, so you can certainly go without them, and this is going to force you into ketosis. This is going to actually put some pressure on your metabolism to switch over and start looking for fat for fuel. So it's really important that you're reminding your metabolism that that's what it's supposed to be doing. So you want to make sure that you're getting plenty of healthy fats every day. So that is how you add bone broth to your Cronometer.